You can shoot me with your words. You can cut me with your lies. You can kill me with your hatefulness. But just like life, I'll rise.
I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up and live out the true meaning of its creed. We ain't gonna let nobody turn us around.
Williamston, South Carolina can be described as a growing community, only 15 minutes from Greenville or Anderson and 2 hours away from Atlanta or Charlotte. Its police department is located on Town Square Drive next to the Williamston Municipal Center. The force protects its more than 4,000 residents. Chief Tony Taylor serves as the top cop of the Williamston Police Department and the first to make history while serving and protecting its citizens.
Of course, everybody was excited, about that. I was the first, first African American. Even in Anderson County, they had an agency, and everybody was excited.
When Taylor stepped into the position as police chief in 2013, he became the first person of color to lead a law enforcement agency in Williamston and Anderson County. He's no stranger to the area as his family has deep roots in the community. But just because he was raised in Williamston doesn't mean that everyone initially embraced him.
I do remember getting an email from an individual that said, "Hey, I didn't support you. I didn't support your hire, but I believe you're going to do a great job." And once they saw what we were trying to do and trying to develop, they did come around and said, "I think you're going to do a great job." So,
in the 25-person police department, the focus is on transparency, inclusion, and connection.
The community and law enforcement are one. You cannot separate community from who we are. So our philosophy is that the community and law enforcement are one. If there's a crime in the community, it hurts us as well.
That connection, appreciation, and belief started in his home with his family's influence.
I believe that your name is important, and I carried a name that my parents were people of integrity, people that were honest, people that was hardworking.
Chief Taylor is more than capable to lead the department. He has an extensive background of certifications and training that uniquely qualify him to proudly wear the badge. Ironically, the chief's law enforcement career started in Williamston.
Yeah, well, I graduated high school in 1981. Councilman Harold Mackey, I went and talked with him and said, I wanted to come and work as a dispatcher, and he talked with the mayor and everything, and they agreed to hire me as a dispatcher. So I want to salute Councilman Mackey for making that happen.
As he worked a full-time job, he was also a full-time student, driving back and forth to Greenville to take classes. In 1984, the door opened for him to work with the Greenville County Sheriff's Office. That's where the dream of becoming an officer became reality. After more than 2 decades, his duties changed from serving on the front lines to training those who would.
So I got a call from the South Carolina Criminal Justice Academy and had an opportunity to go there to actually be an instructor at the Criminal Justice Academy, dealing with criminal gang investigations, dealing with human trafficking, and dealing with some other things as well.
From the start of his career until now, policing has changed and evolved. Making an effort to create an inclusive environment has kept some of the issues seen elsewhere out of Williamston.
So even though it's been a small agency, we've tried to make sure that we reflect our community. But it's through developing relationships, and you don't just have a relationship with one ethnic group. You have relationships with a lot of different people, and we've been able to do that. And we are diverse, not as diverse as we'd like to be, but we are trending that way.
Chief Taylor wants people to know that his officers care about the people they live with, work for, and serve.
I've had officers that actually buy medication for people that couldn't afford the medication. I had an officer one time went to a location. The person didn't have a bed in there. They would sleep on a cot. That officer made sure that person got a bed, made sure they had groceries and different things like that. So with that being said, these officers put a lot into what they do, a lot of heart and soul in what they do. It's not just arresting people, but it's actually helping people develop in other areas as well.
He embraces the goodwill towards others. It's just a part of the long list of values he's learned from his parents. He describes them as progressive thinkers who have witnessed a lot of firsts.
My mother's 94. And, she's seen a lot. She's seen our first African-American president. She saw me being the first African-American chief. And she's lived to see the first African-American vice president of the United States.
Seeing her son in his role as chief of police in Williamston tops them all.
And I've seen the promised land.
Back then, they didn't have an elementary school that would see African Americans.
Miss Wright, Miss Sadie Wright, she taught the 4th grade, and she had a store, a candy store, and we would all go there before we got into school. We'd go across the street right there to her house and just load up on candy. And
our school district was segregated. The White High School was Palmetto.
At that time, they integrated from those schools. It was a big deal because we didn't know if we were ready for that.
I may not get there with you, but I want you to know tonight that we as a people will get to the promised land.